What's up, everybody? This is Dallin Canland. We're back with you today. We're talking about bankrupting our happiness. And so, obviously, these are things you don't want to do. But I've learned in life when you're able to have a better idea of what exactly not to do, it helps you have a better idea of what you should do. So, as always, if the podcast is helpful for you, definitely leave a follow. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or wherever you're listening to it. I would definitely appreciate that. And we're just going to talk about 3 different ways to bankrupt your happiness. So let's get right into it. Number 1 is dishonesty. When you're not honest with yourself and you just kind of hold yourself back, well, it is a way of holding yourself back, right? When you're dishonest and you're cheating on a test or a quiz or whatever it might be, you're holding yourself back to like how much you can actually do. And when a final comes up, you're not going to be able to replicate those same results. And so just any kind of dishonesty, whether it's like a job or whatever it might be, any kind of dishonesty, it's going to add up over time. One big thing I've seen in my life recently, well, one good example of this for me is Rita Crundwell. I'm learning about her in my accounting class, and she embezzled $54 million over a 20-year period, and nobody knew about it. She had this, she had this reality she wanted to live that included her being dishonest, and she just thought it would be worth it. And you know what? She's still in prison, and she'll be in prison until 2029, and it doesn't pay off, obviously. But it's just really sad because, a lot of people looked up to her, and now, people can't stand her, and it's just rough. And there's the thought that comes to my mind that big lies start with a little bit of yarn. So be very careful what you are kind of weaving your life with, what kind of yarn you're using, what kind of direction you're moving, what kind of steps you're taking. All of that really matters. And a little bit of dishonesty goes a long way, and so does a little bit of good old honesty. So moving on, number 2 is not caring about your health. And this is something I have definitely seen can be super detrimental, because as a college student, I've learned I need to still kind of treat myself like an athlete, because my brain is a muscle, and a really good way to keep my brain in good shape is to keep exercising, keep running, and that's why I've kept running. And I found the times in my life when I did the best at exercising were also some of the best times for me mentally, like being able to focus consistent long periods of time, being able to absorb concepts, being able to learn a lot quicker. All those different things were shown with exercising. And of course, this is eating too, which honestly, I need to get way better at that piece. But we are just learning line upon line and sandwich upon sandwich. We are figuring this thing out. And I think that's such a wonderful thing, because I'm trying to be as honest with myself as I can. When I'm struggling, I try to be honest with myself and everything like that, so we can learn and move forward. And I really am trying to prioritize my sleep. I'm trying to do this because I've had this thought recently, like the only time you can buy health is in a video game. I mean, you can get surgery and you can get those other things, but that's like somebody taking care of a problem. I just mean like overall better health. It's something you have to put in yourself. You have to put in that work. And this is something I've really seen in my life. Like, you don't lift for a while or you don't run for a while, and those muscles start to atrophy. And the same goes with your mental muscles too. And so you have to keep exercising them. Do what you can so you can stay ahead of the game and keep learning. Because, if you push yourself a bit too hard and your brain and your body just can't really take it, you're going to see the consequences, and there's going to be withdrawals. Going back to the bankrupting idea, some kind of withdrawals are going to come to play. And I've seen this of sleeping in and other things because my body was just too tired and needed to rest. And you just have to be really careful and do what you can. And that's obviously something I'm still working at. But yeah, don't bankrupt. Don't make sure you're treating yourself well as far as your health goes, prioritizing sleep, or even a walk. Like, a walk is so beneficial. You don't have to go for a long run or anything. Just do something that you enjoy, whether it's running or jump rope or basketball or clogging or dance or any of those things are so good for your mind. There's the thought that like when the body's moving, the mind is grooving, and that is so so true. Let's move on. The final thing, and that is selling yourself short. Selling yourself short, it just hits me because this is something I've done for a long time at different parts of my life. I said, like, I just can't make the basketball team, or I shouldn't even try for this thing. And I've been pondering about an opportunity that I honestly could have had, but I just sold myself short. And so I basically said, I just disqualified myself before I even tried out for the race, right? And who knows, I could have actually done really well in that position or that opportunity, but I disqualified myself so early. It was just, yeah, like if you want to campaign for anything, you have to. Honestly, it's kind of a depressing thing. It's something I've done to myself a long time for various things. And when I see other people doing it to themselves, it really hurts me because you're basically saying, like, I am not good enough for XYZ. And what you're basically saying is, I don't have to put in that much effort because there's no point in trying anyway. But something really revelatory I found out about track is your brain will start to change its whole makeup and its thoughts and everything. When I run, my brain is like, yes, I love this. Life is good. You just start to change the script a little bit because you've been sitting on your bum for so long. And when you do something that really gets you moving and challenges you, your brain's like, yes, this is life. This is good. And so it's really good to challenge yourself, but not so much that you're destroying yourself, obviously. But I think this is something that you cannot afford to do, is selling yourself short. Just keep putting the effort a little bit at a time, trust the process, and you're going to get somewhere. If you have like a goal or something, just do something that's going to help you, and you work at it each day or whenever you're able to, and take breaks as needed, and you just continue to focus. Because as you do that thing consistently over time, you're going to start thinking of yourself as that kind of person. For me doing all these podcasts now, people look at me as a podcaster, but when I started my podcast, I was just a beginning podcaster. And now I'm helping other people get into podcasting, and I'm very passionate about it. But you just can't sell yourself short and say, like, I'm not good enough for that. And I think another big thing with this is something I'm reading about. I think it's in Atomic Habits or some other book I've been reading, just about how you think that you're just not cut out for that kind of thing. Like, I'm not a math person. I'm not a runner. I'm not a blank, And the thing is, that might be true, but you can change that over time if you have a plan, if you really want it. And that's something I'm really passionate about. But selling yourself short and saying you'll never do that thing, I think that's just so cruel and awful to yourself because you really don't know. With becoming a professional Smash Bros. Player, that's not in the cards for me. It takes so much work to get at it, and I just don't have that kind of discipline and staying power for the game. I love playing the game, it's fun, but I haven't played it in like 2 months, so obviously when I play again, I'm going to stink, but that's okay because I have this mission, I have these other things I'm working on that are more important to me. But to just sell myself short on these other things is really cruel because the thing is you don't know until you go for it, until you go. You don't know until you go, right? I should put that on a t-shirt or something. But yeah, those are kind of my 3 takeaways. But yeah, it's a depressing and sad thing. And the wonderful thing is you can work out of that. Just like how you might be taking out these little withdrawals from yourself, from these mean things you say about yourself, you can also put in you can deposit money and say, I care about you. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do all this so I can help you to have a good life. I think that's one of the best things you can do for yourself is do those little investments that say, hey, I care about you and I'm going to help you have a good life, man, because I want you to make it to the finish line. I want you to help out people. I don't want you to fall. I mean, you'll fall. I want you to keep going when you fall. I want you to keep trying. I don't want to bankrupt nothing else. I don't want to bankrupt your love or happiness or anything like that. We just want to finish this. We just want to go for it and own it. And it's really good when you just decide I'm going to just do what I can, and that's enough. But if you kind of cut yourself short and be like, this is all I can give because I'm just not that kind of person, or I just can't, I would challenge you to maybe think of it a little bit differently, because you're often much more powerful than you realize. There's the quote that the body is more powerful than the mind will ever get a bit credit for. We often quit before we really actually reach that point of, where we'd actually shut down. So it's important to keep trying. Also listen to your body. I think that's some of the best advice in the world. Just listen to what your body's telling you, and over time, you'll get to know your body better, and you'll figure it out. So those are my 3 tips for today. I hope this was helpful for you. Again, those things are just don't be dishonest. Just do what you can to not be dishonest. Number 2 is to make sure you care about your health. So the number one thing, first thing to make sure you bankrupt your happiness is be dishonest. Number 2 is to not prioritize your health. And number 3 is to sell yourself short. I hope you don't do these things. I've done all of them at some point in my life. And the wonderful thing about life is you can keep trying. You can keep going. Tomorrow is a bright new day, and seasons will come and go. It's kind of winter right now, but we're transitioning into spring. And there's a lot of good stuff coming. So keep trying, keep running, keep going. Whatever that thing is, I believe in you, and I'm going to keep going to help you out. So thank you so much for listening. As always, don't forget to follow the podcast for more interviews and little deep dives on life. And as always, I hope it was helpful. Thank you again so much for listening. And don't forget to yield today, and it will be a better tomorrow.